Welcome back to Turner Farm. What if I told you that you can make beautiful, consistent, fluffy dinner rolls out of 100% sourdough? Well, today I'm going to show you how to do exactly that. And I promise these are going to be a staple for your family all through the holiday season. So I think one of the staples in a kitchen is like a good solid dinner roll recipe, especially when we're coming into the holiday season with Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's so nice to have a foolproof, consistent dinner roll recipe tucked in your back pocket that you can pull out and you know it's going to work every single time. So today I'm going to teach you one with 100% sourdough. So this recipe actually came from my friend Lisa from Farmhouse on Boone. I'm super thankful for this recipe because it's a fully fermented, soft bread that ferments for 8 to 12 hours. It comes together really easily in one bowl and it bakes up beautifully every single time. So I'm going to show you how I put it together and things to look for in order to be successful with this recipe, because sometimes with soft breads for sourdough, they tend to be a little bit dense and it's hard to get that really fluffy rise out of a sourdough because it's a fermentation and not an artificial rise. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I do in order to get those nice fluffy buttery filling in your dinner rolls. And we're going to mix them up in our mixer because this is the best way to make a soft bread or a milk bread out of sourdough, is to use a mixer. You can do it by hand, but I love using a mixer, so I'm going to show you how I use mine. So I like to go ahead and add my liquid first. So we're just going to dump in our warm water and then melted butter. So melted, and especially if this is like just freshly melted, you don't have to really use warm water. But melted is really important for this because if your butter is hard, then your dough has to work even that much harder in order to ferment in the bulk fermentation. So we want to make sure that our butter is nice and melted so it kind of warms the dough up and then it ferments even better. So we're just going to dump that in there. And then I like to put my sourdough starter right on top of the liquid, and that's a good test because you can see if your sourdough is ready to go. I know that this is going to be ready to go because it's stretching from the sides of the jar and it's really, really nice and thick and happy. So we're going to take half a cup of this. You want to make sure that you're using a nice, thick, active, bubbly starter, because we want your fluffiness of your recipe, of your rolls, is determined by your starter. If you're using a really flat starter, that's not really strong enough yeast, so you're going to end up with dense or gummy rolls. So we want a nice, active, thick, bubbly sourdough leaven or starter. So now we're going to go ahead and just add our sugar in. Remember that sugar is necessary when you're making things with yeast because it activates the yeast. So really one of the only recipes that doesn't have like a sugar in it would be your traditional sourdough recipe. So I use sugar in this, but you could also try honey. Honey works as well. It just makes for a bit more of a denser roll. Okay, so then we're just going to add in our salt. So about half a teaspoon of salt, and you can go ahead and just kind of, I like to mix the starter up a little bit just so that it's more evenly distributed in the liquid before adding in the flour. That isn't something that is required. It's just I'm used to doing that, so I do. So now we're gonna do 2.5 cups of regular, just all-purpose flour. And then that's it. And so then we're going to turn this on. So it's going to be hard to see because I have the cover on mine. But we're going to just push that down and we're going to turn it on medium speed, which is about 3 for this machine, but would probably be about 2 for your KitchenAid. And what you'll start seeing immediately is it stretching away from the sides of the bowl. And we're gonna leave this to knead for 10 minutes. So while that's kneading, the reason that it is so important to use a mixer for these types of recipes is because it has to knead quite vigorously for a solid 10 to 12 minutes. And I'm gonna show you what the dough is gonna look like when it's done. You can certainly knead it on the counter, but you're probably gonna want reinforcements to like come in and help you with that because it is quite like laborious to kind of do it by yourself to get it to the point that we need so that it's stretching. That's the only way that you get the soft, buttery dinner roll is through this method and then like obviously through the bulk fermentation, but it needs to be kneaded. This is when the gluten proteins start to develop and everything starts to break down, so that when it goes into the bulk fermentation, we just cover it up and leave it, and it will do its thing and it will rise really nicely and be beautiful and ready to go. So this is about what you want to see when you lift it up. You want it to be able to create this really stretchy, beautiful window pane. So let's take it off the hook here. And when it does that, you should be able to stretch it quite far without breaking it. Let's get it out of the bowl. It'll stick a little bit to the bowl, but it really shouldn't be a sticky dough. It should just be a really stretchy dough. Okay, so if we just take the little piece on the end and stretch it, you can see kind of like the window pane, where you can see through it, and it stretches quite far, but you're not breaking it. Okay, so now this is ready to go into a dish. And we're gonna put this in here like this, and we're gonna cover it up. And you wanna cover it with like a beeswax wrap or a plastic wrap. And the reason you wanna do that is because we do not want any air getting in to dry out the dough. We want the condensation on the inside of the bowl. We want the heat to kind of build up as it ferments. Okay, so when it's ready, it's not gonna rise, it's not gonna puff up in the bowl because this is sourdough, this is not yeast, but it is gonna double in size. So this one was from last night. This is ready to be cut into our rolls and then do our second rise. So this one we're gonna cover up. It's gonna sit for 8 to 12 hours. In my kitchen, it's about 12 to 15 because overnight the kitchen gets quite chilly. So we're gonna leave this for 12 to 15 hours. And then we're gonna shape it up. So this one is ready. It has fermented for quite a while, and it's still feeling a little dense. Like I said, my kitchen is a bit cold. So what I like to do is I like to divide it in half. So we want 8 rolls, and then divide it in half again, and then divide it in half again. And we're gonna actually put these for a second rise into the oven with the light on, and that just like really kind of gets everything moving again. So I like to just pinch the balls together underneath and roll them into little balls. So flip them over and just kind of pinch them into the center. This just creates tension, and we're kind of manipulating and redirecting the shape of the dough. So then when we put them into the oven, this one's a little bit too big. When we put them into the oven with the light on, they're gonna rise in this shape as well. So it's nice to switch it up and then give them that second rise. So this has done its bulk fermentation, but getting them back in for like a nice warm second rise is what's gonna really bring these rolls to the next level and make them nice and fluffy. And again, like sourdough is different than yeast. So we're not getting the same type of fluffiness that you're gonna get from conventional yeast unless you're adding yeast to your dinner rolls, which you can certainly do that. You can add, half a teaspoon of yeast when you're mixing it all up. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to artificially rise. It will still ferment. It's just not going to ferment as full as it does with 100% sourdough. So that's just a personal preference. If you're looking for something to rise a little bit faster than 12 to 15 hours, you can add yeast at the beginning if you're in a pinch. So we have a 9x13 pan here, and it's cast iron, so I actually like to line it with some parchment just so that it doesn't stick. And we're just going to evenly space these in the dish. And then we're going to wet a tea towel. So I'm just going to wet a linen tea towel, and I'm going to cover it up. I'm going to put them in the oven with the light on, and they're gonna stay there for at least a couple of hours while they do their second rise. Okay, so these have been rising for several hours. And so alternatively, you can put these in an 8x8 dish as well. They're gonna be more squished together. I have also put them in a round cast iron, and you can make like a really pretty kind of circular pull apart bun. So you can do these a whole bunch of different ways. So this is in a 9x13. I've done them in my 10-inch cast iron. I found that a little small. Or you can do them in the 12-inch round cast iron. And those are fun if you're serving them kind of in the round. So these are ready to go into the oven. We're going to egg wash them and then just pop them in to bake for a half hour or so. So we're doing the whole egg, and we're just brushing enough on the top, just like a regular egg wash. There. So those are ready to pop into the oven at 375, and we'll bake them for about a half hour. So we're losing daylight, so I have my candles lit here. So these are out of the oven, and they are beautiful and fluffy. Look at that, just so soft. These are just the perfect foolproof dinner roll, sourdough, 100% sourdough that you can serve all over Christmas. These are still quite warm, but look at those buttery, soft layers. No need to ever buy rolls from the grocery store again with this one. Just a quick, easy throw together recipe to have with your Thanksgiving or your Christmas dinner this year.